Oh man, Andy.
This movie,
What a good movie.
I hesitate to call it a movie.
It was a movie. It moved.
It's art.
That is the one thing you can definitely say about it. Welcome to direct-to-video. VHS?
VHS?
I am your host, Tony Robusto.
And I am your host, Andy Reyes.
I think I forgot to say that we pair movies like fine wine, but that's because I just drank some fucking vinegar this week.
They forgot the grapes.
They forgot the grapes. The grapes just aren't even in there.
What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Listener, we watched The Swan Princess, A Royal Myztery.
Can I tell you my final thoughts on A Royal Myztery, and then we can get deep down into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's my final overarching thoughts. This might be the most competently done 3D Swan Princess movie, and that is such a crazy tragedy because it is insane. It is unfollowable. It
is the worst written.
And the most concerned with continuity.
It is so obsessed with just bringing in every single callback from the 3D era of Swan Princess. Mm-hmm. All of your favorites are here for some reason.
Yeah, they all are. It's a great movie.
It's only 79 minutes.
Oh boy, you feel it. That was only 79 minutes. I have 2 pages of notes.
This I know. It was so short, and yet. When did you watch this? Did you watch this morning?
No, I watched this at the beginning of the week. Because I thought we were going to record on Monday. And now I have to keep checking my notes to make sure that I remember everything in this movie, because it is too weird to be left. Most of the weird stuff just leaves.
It's 3 separate movies, and 2 of those movies have nothing to do with the title.
The great thing, it's like a performance art piece.
It's like when have you ever read a story written by a 5-year-old?
Yeah, you can kind of see that where a 5-year-old might also really care about the continuity, oh, this is how this character comes back, but it won't make sense. They'll be well, yeah, you toss the gloves in with the ghost rope, and now they're ghost gloves, and you could just grab ghost stuff with them because you have ghost gloves now. Which is, I'm sorry, it should be noted, is a thing that happens. Do you know who are no longer characters in this movie? Which is fascinating. Elise and Lucas are no longer characters.
They have no speaking lines. They have nothing to do, and the biggest thing that they do in this movie is get themselves kidnapped.
Yeah, really weirdly, bafflingly. That was the thing in this movie that made the least amount of sense. I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment in this movie where I was yearning for, I don't even remember what the last one was called, Royally Undercover. I think that this movie, I know you said it was the worst one, but I think the plotting in this movie made some more sense than Royally Undercover. Royally Undercover took a lot of stuff for granted. I think here's the thing though, is Royally Undercover is a story, right? And that I think does it a disfavor, right? Royal Myztery is just given wild. It's just events. It's so insane, and there's no continuity between scenes sometimes that it goes down like a buffet, right? You don't know why you're eating all of this stuff, but it was all at the table. Do you know what I love about this movie? Genuinely. What? I wonder if it's the same thing that I loved.
I was really disappointed in number 9 in the last movie. I thought he was really underwhelming and didn't get to do anything fun. And in this movie, he's like back for real. I did not expect that. He is great. And he has to like play alongside this new Odette who is not good.
It sucks because this is the most Odette has had to do in so long.
But it's not Laura Bailey anymore, who I know is a good voice actor. It is this girl who sounds like a kid.
Nina Herzog, who has done nothing.
Really? Oh, that's fascinating.
They were in a short movie in 2015, and then immediately in 2018 they did Swan Princess. They did one episode of American Horror Story and a movie called My Unauthorized Hallmark Movie Musical.
Oh, Nina, I don't know about that one. That sounds bad. That last one that one might be worse than Swan Princess.
Because the thing is that the singing in this movie is not good.
The music in this movie is, I think, distinctly better than a lot of music in the other movies.
No, it is absolutely better, right? Like and we're going to talk about Jay Bateman, the composer, in a little bit. But this is the best work he's done since he started working on these 3D movies.
Wait, it's the same composer?
This is the same composer. He's been the composer for Swan Princess since A Royal Family Tale.
Okay, but this stuff is like, there's listenable stuff in this movie.
This is his last Swan Princess.
Oh no. Oh man, A Royal Wedding is going to be garbage. We're not watching that right away.
It's going to be so bad. And like I said, we're going to talk about Jay. You know, let's talk about Jay Bateman a little bit right now, because 3 people wrote this movie. I don't know if you watched the credits. I watched the credits. These credits, incredibly short. Very few people worked on this movie. But one of those people who helped write the story and who helped produce the movie was one Jay Bateman. So this movie was written by the composer, or at least partially written by the composer.
Interesting.
And a person named like Melissa Bateman, who might be his wife. And this is also his last Swan Princess movie.
Fascinating.
I just don't know. Like, what's happening? Yuri Lowenthal still here, though? Spider-Manning around?
Yeah, but Mary Jane's gone, so...
Well, I will say, again, like, Derek gets a lot to do in this movie, which is nice.
It's kind of a movie, for some reason, about Derek. It becomes about Derek after a while, and
which is incredibly stupid. But let's get into it. Let's start at the beginning. It's baffling
because it's supposed to be like basically a direct sequel to the last movie where he was not in it.
As like a denouement to Royally Undercover, it works kind of. But if you just jumped into this movie without watching Royally Undercover or any of the 3D movies, you'd be like, what is happening?
You need to watch all of the 3D movies to have any understanding about what's happening. I watched this with my girlfriend. We had just watched Royally Undercover together.
Same.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Same. So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mavis have the same problem of being like, who's this ghost?
Not only did not only did Mavis not, when this ghost showed up, I was like, oh yeah, that's from 3 movies ago.
From like 3 movies ago, completely not in the last movie, not even like a cameo or anything. And then he's just a main character, like a full storyline is about this ghost.
Tony, I had to go one step further because at the beginning of this movie, when we see Queen Uberta on her book tour, we'll get to it. Mavis was like, why do these 2 other characters with her look so different?
Oh,
and I was like, that because they're from the 2D movie. They're from the sequel 2D movie.
They're joke characters from the 2D movie.
And they're not meant to look like this. But this is what they look like now.
Yes, let's get into it. You want to know my first note? Let me tell you my first note. My first note was, I refuse to believe that Uberta is beloved, because it just starts with people chanting Queen You, and you're not told she's on a book tour. So I, as a human, just assumed she was doing Queen stuff.
Yeah.
But nope.
No.
Then she starts talking about her fans, and I got furious. Then it turns out that Uberta, continuing being literally the saddest human being ever, has written about the events of the last movie in a way that makes her the hero. And it's just so profoundly pathetic. Because she specifically writes about how she wasn't ever really in love with Count Antonio. It's like, you're such a garbage human.
Right? Like, why? Like, it's one of those things, right? If she just wrote about the events of the book and made herself the hero, that's fine. But by like just completely changing the narrative of like, I was actually, not only was I the hero, but I was in on it the whole time. It sounds like a boring book.
It does, but people are so horned for it.
They want it. They want this story to be told. So my first note is, back at the Kingdom of Borromeo, they rebuilt the dam, but they should have just moved the town.
Yeah, why aren't they just a beachside kingdom?
Why did
There's a lake here.
Just have a lake. Just be next to the lake. Why do you have to live perpetually under the thumb of another like assassin breaking your dam?
If somebody wanted to break that dam, they totally could have, and it would have made sense, because there's an assassin running around throughout this whole thing, and we know that breaking dams is totally within his MO.
Also, I'm sure that the Queen Uberta just told people how the dam was broken. In the future, somebody's just going to be like, this book is a perfect rubric for how to break this dam specifically.
It's the anarchist's cookbook of dam breaking specifically.
So Queen Uberta's on a book tour. This has no bearing really on the rest of the movie except for a kind of a bad twist.
Kind of a bad twist, and it's the only bit where I was like, oh, okay, now it actually kind of makes sense. It's a bad twist, but it gave me a moment where I was like, that makes more sense than what I thought was happening.
The one thing I liked about this whole bit is I do love it when in a movie somebody is like, I wrote this book, and then the photo on the book is of them holding the book, and it just goes on forever. I do like that. It's a classic joke, right? Like you can never do it wrong.
So you just love recursion.
Yes.
You have no other.
As a person who has done some programming, recursion is fantastic. I love seeing it everywhere. I love
Big
standing between two mirrors. She goes back to home.
So sorry, before that happens, we do get the title drop, I believe.
Oh, that's right. We get more credits.
They're still using the theme from Swan Princess, and it made me furious until later they used one of the actual songs from Swan Princess. And I was like, you have not earned this. You can't keep doing this.
It's wild to me that they care so much about using that initial logo and like music sting, because like, what, like, who at this point, who is watching these movies who has seen the original?
Well, they very clearly think that the person who was watching this movie has seen all of the other 3D movies. You know, we watched all the Fairy Princess movies, and each one of those was its own standalone story, which is what you need, and these refuse to be their own standalone story.
Maybe they're trying to do like one last hurrah, because it looks like in the next movie, we're just never seeing any of these characters again.
Yeah, but we'll never know, because I refuse to be the one to bring us into these movies again.
I know it's...
We pair the movies, Andy, then we move on.
There's 2 of them left.
I know. At least. The longer we wait, the more there are going to be.
The more likely it is that another one happens somehow. Uberta is tired from her book tour. And I don't quite know how we get to this point, because a lot of faff happens that doesn't matter. But mysterious Z's are being carved all over the castle.
So the first one's on Uberta's book, And so they think she just did it while she was sleeping because she sleeps with it because she is genuinely the most pathetic character you can possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. And I honestly thought would have been killed off in the second movie.
The only, I think at this point, the only character I hate more is Roger, who is insufferable in this movie.
It's weird that these two characters keep getting used the way they do. Somebody, I don't know if it's Brian Neeson or Richard Rich or who, loves them. Somebody loves going back to these characters and just continually making them worse and worse.
It really feels like that, like the comic book problem of like, you'll introduce a character in comic books and they'll have like one trait that fans latch onto. So you start exaggerating that trait.
Flanderization.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like these two characters have gotten it so bad. Like Derek and Odette went from being like mildly interesting characters to just blank pieces of cardboard.
Yeah, they're basically like fantasy versions of Barbie and Ken.
Yeah, they're little psychopaths who murder children's parents for fun. But Roger and Huberta have like regressed so much at this point that like every minute that they're on screen, I'm just like, move on. Just move on, please.
They're maybe not the worst of it. Jean-Bob might still be the worst. But I think he might have been worse earlier on, actually.
He's gotten toned down.
Right. He's so much less of a character now that it barely matters.
He barely even has a French accent anymore.
That's true.
Have you noticed that, by the way, that even Puffin is like not Scottish anymore?
Not Scottish enough. He just kind of sounds like a cop. So, yeah, there's Z's popping up everywhere. And then do we just cut over to the kids?
Yeah, so the kids are just hanging out with King Jesus.
Yeah, when I first saw the kids, I was like, does Lucas just live at the castle now? But they're not even at that castle. They're in the castle in Borromeo.
Yeah. Why?
Because they were delivering a bunch of flowers, I guess.
A bunch of lilies.
So they're there with the old king, who we now know is like, he's an intelligent character, which is just great. I needed to know that. Wonderful.
He's so smart.
And number nine's great.
He gets the best line in the whole movie in terms of just like really showing us who is writing it. The king says to the kids, I'm going to paint a selfie of me and what I forget what he calls number 9.
Jasper, I think.
Jasper, yeah. I'm going to paint a selfie of me and Jasper. And I was like, kill me. Like, it is 2018. You cannot. This isn't a joke anymore.
God, I can't remember what the issue is. I think they have to cover the lilies for a frost or something. I don't remember why they need a bunch of sheets, but they're like, hey, do we know anywhere where we could get a bunch of sheets? And for some reason, nobody's like, you're royalty. Buy some sheets.
Just buy some sheets.
And they go
to fucking Cat Murder Row again.
They go to Cat Murder Row and Scully, the ghost, who's here. Okay. You wait, listeners, you remember Scully, right?
Yeah, do you remember? Here's the thing is, I couldn't remember this fucker's name, and they don't say it for so long.
They don't say it for a long time. Scully is the squirrel-ish character that they're not squirrels. They're like a stupid fantasy squirrel, but they're squirrels.
They're squirrels.
He's like the squirrel character who played kind of an Obi-Wan Kenobi role in, I can't remember the name of the movie, but the first one with Elise in it, who played like an Obi-Wan Kenobi role and ended up having to sacrifice himself for Odette and Derek. And then, in the next movie, continued to play an Obi-Wan Kenobi role as a ghost who just did everything for them.
He just did the whole movie for them.
He did the whole climax, remember? He was like, you be here, and you be here. It's like, what are you doing, ghost? So anyway, he left, and now he's back.
And I hope you fucking love him. I hope you love him, because he's going to be half of this movie. He's going to have the most lines, except for maybe another character who I hope you remember.
I straight up didn't remember the other character.
No, because why would you?
So Scully is here, and he is making fun of number 9 for being afraid of this awful place where they murder cats and did a bunch of crimes.
It's like, you know what, Scully? You only had to die once.
Number 9 didn't even... I wish that he had a better comeback. He was like, just because I know Scary doesn't mean I like Scary. But what he should have said was, you're already dead. You don't have anything to worry about. I mean, come on.
So we get a look at this dishonored-looking motherfucker, this assassin.
He does look pretty dishonored.
Yeah, he's just running around spying on people with the spyglass from a distance, parkouring pretty badly.
There is a bit where somebody like sees him and he starts flipping away, and he is doing the most unnecessary flips. Like, he is definitely slowing down by flipping this much.
He starts flipping away. This is probably the worst animation in the movie because these flips look really bad, and it doesn't help that that he's moving so slow.
Here's the thing: this movie has way better animation than like the last few. It should not look this bad, but it does.
I had to rewind it to rewatch it because I missed it because I was writing a note. And Mavis was like, you need to rewind it. You need to see this. It looks so terrible.
I'm sorry. I got very distracted for a second. Did you know that David Lodge plays both Niccolo and number 9?
Yes.
Working fucking hard, Dave.
You're doing so much work. You don't have to, man.
Any halfway decent like performance in this movie might just be David Lodge working.
He's just putting in the hours.
Right, just doing his job.
Scully is like dunking on number 9 for no reason, and then another ghost shows up to lasso him.
Yep.
And this might be the most romantic tension that we will get in all of Swan Princess.
Well, as we've established, Derek and Odette don't really get romantic tension anymore. No,
they again, they're just little psychopaths. I don't remember the name of this character. I think it's Nums or Hunch.
It might be Nums. You are looking at the same IMDb page as me, right?
Yeah, so it's Nums or Hunch.
So it's either Nums or Hunch. The other one is the other one.
So I'm going to go with Hunch because I think I remember Nummy Wummy being a joke later.
Right, and Hunch kind of makes sense if it's like a detective character. You kind of see it.
So Hunch is a ghost Nork who has a debate kink,
basically.
So which makes him the perfect rival ? Is that the right word? To Scully, who seems to have who seems to reciprocate that. Like, they both just love talking nonsense at each other for extended periods of time.
Let me define... Did you call them Norks? Let me define a Nork for a second. It's a goblin, but it kind of looks like a lizard. You guys might not remember it because they were in one movie, and I thought we were done with them.
I don't actually remember what they're called.
They could be called anything. They have the dumbest names. Bogs. They're called Bogs. I found it on the Swan Princess Wiki.
Thanks, Swan Princess Wiki. You're doing the Lord's work.
God, somebody sure wrote down the entirety of the plot of this movie for some reason.
Oh, man. So Hunch takes Scully back to the island from Princess Today, Pirate Tomorrow.
Sorry, I do have to mention it is Princess Tomorrow, Pirate Today, even though that doesn't sound as good. That is the name of the movie. I remember having this conversation before.
I stand by it that the other way is better. And then we get I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff actually.
This movie is impossible to follow. They keep cutting in weird places, which makes it hard to recap it.
With some quite amazing diagonal wipes. Did you see these things?
It was like watching a George Lucas movie.
It was like my windshield wipers were on full blast. There was a moment in this movie where they do like 10 wipes within a span of 5 minutes. It's so much. Okay. I'm gonna do this in order of like big things because they're like But imagine that all of these things are intercut even more randomly. I'm making it like more coherent.
It's hard. My notes are incomprehensible. Looking at them, I keep on referencing different characters in each line.
Oh, that's better. I don't even write character names. By the time I get like 3 notes in, I stop writing character names.
Well, one of my notes, for instance, is Rogers continues to be the worst, and I could have written that down at any time.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're referring to. But before we get to that, so Scully gets captured by Hunch, and Hunch takes him back to Bog Island, where he has a simultaneously 12 Angry Men parody and Survivor ? Parody.
I think it's supposed to be Judge Judy, but it doesn't work.
They do the like Survivor interview thing. Judge Judy never did that, did they?
I don't think Judge Judy did do that. But remember, in the original Princess Tomorrow Pirate Today,
I don't remember, Tony.
There was the bit where they made it into a cooking show.
Yes. Fuck.
They did Chopped.
Oh my god. Yeah, so they're doing that again. We got the title cards and everything. And Scully has to debate for his life.
He has to master debate.
Yeah, he masterfully outwits them by making fun of Nums's wussy name and emasculating him in front of all of his friends, and then he runs away in the middle of the trial.
It's not like super heroic.
No, it sucks real bad. At the same time that this is happening, Rogers is trying to rebuild the submarine from the last movie by harassing John Bob into doing something he doesn't want to do and being just a total prick about it.
That might be when I wrote that down. And John Bob asks, reasonably, why don't you just take it apart?
Yeah, like a fucking engineer, you twit.
Idiot. So who cares about whatever the hell Rogers is doing? We need to get to the meat and potatoes of this, which means, I think, that Derek has to go see Niccolo.
No, not yet.
Please.
You're moving too fast. So the kids are with King Jesus, and Derek and Odette start looking around the castle for rats or large rodents because they think that because Huberta's convinced that it wasn't her, and Derek is just, it's like, whatever, mom. Does everybody remember that Huberta's Derek's mom? Because I sure don't. They're just kind of doing this to humor her.
After the engineering scene, the animals had the Z's on them too.
Yes, they have the Z's on them too, and then they all do like a meetup where they find out that there's a Z on like one of the walls and then also on Odette's pendant.
I think there's a Z on the wall because the light is hitting her pendant in that way. And that's not how like shadows work.
Yeah.
But the movie seems to think that that's how shadows work.
And at this point, I was hoping it would be like a Rat King situation.
Oh my god, a Rat King situation would be great.
Right? Not enough Rat Kings in media. So...
did you know there's going to be a movie with a Rat King in it coming out fairly soon?
Is there?
Yeah, there's a Terry Pratchett book that's going to be made into an animated movie, and it has a Rat King in it.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love a Rat King.
Who doesn't?
At this point, because they did a Z on Odette's pendant, Derek and Odette like put their minds together and realize that somebody is going after the kids.
Well, or they're just worried about the kids, just in theory, yeah.
The movie frames it as if they've solved it. The movie does this multiple times where characters just say things as if it is an objective truth, and it makes all the characters dumb. And then it cuts over
to it happening. Like, Odette's like, I'm worried about the kids, and then when it cuts over, the kids are standing in a giant Z in a flower bed.
And they're like, what's going on?
So, like, I guess they're always right?
But they're also always wrong. because, sorry, if you guys thought that the evil mastermind plan in the last movie was insane, get a load of this. So, they send Puffin, who has found a Z on his foot, over to Borromeo, and then they get there like 2 minutes after he does, so I don't know what the point of that was. they realize that it's the rats that are doing it, but they don't understand why. And Niccolo has requested a council with Derek.
Right, Niccolo's like, oh, I know, I can tell you about this. So, now we see Niccolo, who was referred to almost exclusively as Agent 47 in our last episode.
And he is no longer Agent 47. He is now Rasputin.
Oh, he does look like Rasputin. In fact, ironically, he looks like Rasputin from Anastasia.
Yes, he does. Solitary confinement has made him lose his gourd.
Yes, which you'd think would be a conversation about not throwing people in solitary confinement, but as it turns out, it's not.
No, it's
he
just
gets a song at the end of this, and we should talk about the scene, but then I really need to drill down into this song.
This is infuriating. This scene is nothing. Derek shows up and is like, tell me what you know. And then he's like doing his dumb little bit that is not only insulting, but also distressing. Because
he does a Gollum Schmeagol thing.
It's not nearly as well written. And also, like, I don't know, like DID is a very real thing. And just seeing this movie use it as the most laziest punchline is just distressing.
It's pretty rough, partially because he then gets a song about it.
Yeah.
In which he sings it to nobody, and then later it turns out he was faking.
Yeah.
So why did he get a song?
This is the most animation that is put into any character's face. Like, there are more
Niccolo
bones.
looks smooth as hell.
Yeah, he has more bones in his face than characters have in their whole bodies. The only character that they animate nearly as lovingly is Number 9.
Number 9 looks good too, which is great because he looked bad in the last film.
Yeah, he looks better in this. I don't know what it is. I think they just have better fur tech. The water, just a quick aside, the water in this movie looks amazing. Like,
everything looks better in this movie, even than just the last movie, which had to have been like 1 or 2 years difference. So I don't know if everybody upgraded their computers or what.
They traded them in. They got the newest hype. Yeah, I don't know.
They just like started paying for Photoshop.
Yeah, like this movie still looks terrible by most standards.
By like a modern standard.
Yeah, like this movie looks worse than, like a Star Wars Clone Wars episode.
But it probably looks better than like Shrek or the original Toy Story. The humans in the original Toy Story.
Yeah.
Not Woody and Buzz. They look fine.
They look fine. They're toys. They look fine.
They're toys. The humans look pretty gross. If you go back to 1999 and watch one of those movies, they look pretty weird.
The baby short for Toy Story is terrifying. Objectively terrifying. Tinker Toy? I think that short's called Tinker Toy.
I do not remember the name of the Toy Story short. I'm sorry to have to tell you this.
I do for some reason. Don't know why. It's just
that you're asking me, like, I'll be like, yeah, Tinker Toy. I remember Tinker Toy.
What? How can you? I owned the VHS for Toy Story, and I watched it religiously to the end. So here's a little fun fact about me: is that not only did I watch the movie religiously, but my original VHS that I owned, it didn't have fast forward. Like, I couldn't fast forward while watching the movie.
Weird.
So it wasn't worth the risk. I had to just sit through the trailers and Tinker Toy and Toy Story, and then afterwards I watched all of the special features that were at the end of the VHS. Not only can I say all of the lines of Toy Story by heart as I'm watching the movie, but I could also say all of the special features lines. There are 2.8 million leaves on the trees in Andy's neighborhood. So they get to the kids. Derek goes to meet Niccolo and essentially learns nothing, turns to leave, and Niccolo says, "It's Antonio. He's back. The letter is the key."
And then it turns out that Antonio has a last name that begins with Z. Which we find out, I'm sorry, because there's a big-ass statue of him and Niccolo that I guess the king had made, even though he suspected them of, like, major crimes, and they're just standing back-to-back looking cool as hell.
Like a fucking action movie poster. Like, the people demanded this. Like... No, we want an action movie statue of our favorite senators.
God, that sounds like a plot in Star Wars prequel.
Oh,
like maybe one of the Clone Wars episodes is about that.
I will let you know. I'm listening through More Civilized Age. I will let you know if there's one about a statue. A terrorist has bombed a statue of Padme. And she would get a statue of herself.
She would. She was elected queen at 14.
So we can't talk about this.
People love her somehow.
So Derek leaves and Niccolo sings a song to himself. And this is why this is infuriating, because this song would have worked a million times better if he was singing it to Derek.
Yes, and it would... But he's not, and it's well animated, like we said before. And here's the other thing that's infuriating: it's kind of a bop. It's like way a better song than any of the songs since
the original.
Yes, it's the original. I think.
Yeah, because the two sequels didn't have new music.
Did they not?
No, they didn't have original music.
They just did No Fear Again.
Yeah.
Which blessedly they've stopped giving us. So, meanwhile, or maybe directly after this, Odette decides that they need to follow the rats to find the Man in Black.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Odette has an outfit change, which is the first time she's had an outfit change, maybe ever.
Maybe ever? Evil Odette got a black dress.
Yeah, but it was just the same dress, but black.
Oh, she's went on way crazier adventures than this, and she never got changed. That seems weird.
I noticed it so vividly. I was like, oh, this is like kind of a new outfit. She's wearing like a different shawl and has different gloves. The person who modeled her for this movie made her shoulders a little narrower and her boobs bigger. That's weird. I don't know why they did that. They also made her hips wider. Her proportions are so fucked in this movie. There is a moment where her and Derek are walking next to each other and her legs are so long compared to the rest of her body. Like, she looks taller than Derek.
I think I didn't notice most of this, but I did notice her weirdly long legs. Because sometimes you see that in animation, right? Where it's like people have long legs. Just like... Yeah. If you were to measure us, I feel like most of us are mostly leg, and that's weird and hard to wrap your mind around. And so when people are animated and you draw them, you can very easily fuck that up and give them the weirdest amount of leg.
She looks like an anime boy. Her proportions, like her legs are absurdly long. They definitely like fudged her proportions in this movie. Like, she doesn't look quite right. So I don't know what the deal is with that. And what I think it is I think they have an entirely new animation team.
That might just be it. And it might be why the animation looks better. And also sometimes, for instance, character proportions look weird.
Yeah.
Because they're not actually used to animating these characters.
Yeah, they're working with, like, models that were made, 5 years ago? 5 years old at this point?
Don't make me look up when the other movies came out.
That's all right. You don't have to.
So she decides to go look for the rats. And she brings number 9 with her because he's a cat.
He gets fucking volunteered.
He gets volunteered by the king. He's like, God damn it. Even though both of them are afraid of rats, which is, you'd think they could bond over that, but they just don't.
No, because Odette is like, you need to kill yourself for me, number 9.
Odette gets another song. This is her second song in the series about killing yourself for a friend. And I say that... Oh, wow, you know what? Actually, the 2D movies did have original songs, because the first one was from one of the 2D sequels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, you know?
Yeah. Odette's character in this movie is like comes down to, hey, number 9, you should want to die for me.
Yes. She sang a similar song to Jamba before about how you sometimes need to get yourself killed for your friends. Like, it's fucking wild. However, number 9 does get one of the best lines in the movie in response to it, where he's getting like hyped up to go fight these rats during the song, and then after the song he goes, "No, there's no music. I'm not feeling it."
I'm not feeling that. Yeah, now that the music's turned off, actually, this doesn't seem like a great idea.
He's just the best character.
Also, during this music sequence, ghosts of all of number 9's past 8 lives come down from heaven to be a chorus for Odette.
Which, I mean, there's some good stuff here. It's the kind of stuff that makes you wish it was a good movie.
No, there were multiple times in this movie where I was like, this is funny. This is actually, like, it's poorly executed, and, like, I'm not laughing.
But, like, I love number 9 arguing with a character who I can only assume would be called number 8 about whether or not it's okay for him to get killed.
And the song, I think, is called, like, Man Up or something.
Yeah, something like that, which I also thought, well, that's pretty, like, heteronormative isn't the word.
It's a gross, just, like, standard for men, right?
I don't understand why we need to bring his maleness into it, you know? This is a cat who doesn't want to do a thing. It doesn't matter if he's a man or not.
8 of his lives were sacrificed to villainy. Let the 9th one be lazy.
And he even says, he's like, this is how I felt just before I died every time. She's like, go die.
Go do it then.
Coward. He's like, I think it's reasonable to be a coward.
There was a moment where I was like, man, Odette is going to kill this cat herself if she has to. She's gonna... The rats scare Odette, but number 9 manages to chase them away, and then they climb into the sewers after a literal assassin.
Yeah, Odette is making pretty exclusively poor decisions in this movie. And number 9 is just along for the ride, very much not wanting to also make these decisions.
They're following the rats. Some cages that were installed in the sewers close behind them. And Odette's response to this is, well, I don't like that.
And then, like, 2 seconds later, she's like, wait, those cages weren't for us. They must have been for Derek. And then Derek is just here.
Derek is here, and he's like, these cages are for Odette. So he climbs into the sewers.
Gets caught in a cage. and so, like, yes, you go on.
He gets caught in a cage for 3 seconds.
For 3 seconds, I'm like, oh, here Derek is trapped again. Nice job, idiot. And then he just opens it?
He just opens the gate. He throws it open like he's the fucking Hulk.
He doesn't even, he doesn't use the stupid lock-picking thing from the last movie or anything. He just slides open.
He doesn't break a sweat. He just throws it open. What? Around this time, Roger and everyone and the animals are collecting equipment for some reason, and they're talking to the kids and trying to get Scully to escape from Hunch, but it doesn't work.
Right, okay. So here's the point of all the equipment. It is to be able to better keep track of Hunch so that he won't catch Scully, and to better keep track of Scully for when he just suddenly has to disappear, I think.
I thought that that the trackers and the ghost gloves, I thought all of this was so that they could put a tracker on this fucking literal assassin. But fuck me for thinking that this was a movie about an assassin who draws Z's everywhere.
No, that's not, because that's not what it's about, Andy. They need the dead squirrel to track the assassin, but the dead squirrel keeps getting interrupted by the dead, what did I call him, a zog?
A bog.
A bog. He keeps getting interrupted by the dead bug, so they have to get the most amount of equipment that you could possibly have to catch the dead bug, so he can't catch their dead squirrel friend, so he can track the assassin. I don't understand what kind of problem you have with this.
They could have put a tracker on the assassin.
I mean, maybe.
And the best part is that it doesn't fucking work. Scully gets captured again.
Yeah, he consistently gets captured.
And Hunch puts him in a jar.
Oh yeah, ghosts can't phase through glass.
A genuinely interesting piece of world building, though, right? Like, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just like it feels like they have to come up with random ghost rules.
No, for sure, but this is the only one that I thought was genuinely good. The ghost string touching stuff and turning it, like, that's all hooey, but like, I love the idea of like, ghosts exist, but for some reason, the only thing they can't go through is glass. I don't know why I like that, but I do. It sticks with me.
I could see it. I kind of like it in a sort of 1800 science idea. Like, the idea that you, like, capture a ghost in a jar and, like, now I have this ghost. And that there's some crazy Frankenstein-esque person constantly doing stuff like this.
Scully gets captured again. He gets jarred. This is a shame. The Roger and everybody send. Apparently, Bog Island is actually really close to land because they just turn John Bob into a ghost and send him after them. Scully and Hunch, I mean.
I forgot about that bit. Yeah.
Because this movie loves a good callback, and by a good callback, I mean a bad callback.
A terrible callback.
Because, listener, do you remember that the Bogs worshipped John Bob as a god? Me neither.
It seems to, though, ignore the idea that they stopped worshipping him as a god at one point and decided to eat him.
But also, this also doesn't work. We have now spent, like, 20 minutes on plans that are just completely asinine and pointless and also have nothing to do with the main plot.
But if we didn't do that, we would literally never see the kids in this movie.
I'm okay with that, though.
I'm just saying, the movie started to be about Elise, and in this one, it fully stops being about Elise. And I'm not saying that's awful or anything, but look at the cover for the Swan Princess: A Royal Mystery. They fully do not want to cut down their cast at all. This has everybody on it.
Oh my god, Scully is solid in this. What the fuck?
It's very weird. But this should be a movie about Derek and Odette trying to solve this mystery because nobody else matters except for number 9 because he's the greatest.
And he's not even on this cover.
He's not, and that's wild. That's why I thought number 9 wasn't in the movies after the last one.
Yeah, right? This cover should just be that immaculate portrait of number 9 where he's dressed like a Roman emperor eating grapes, which was tragically...
Oh, man. I saw that when it was slashed. I was like, oh no, Andy's favorite painting.
I was so... This got the most emotional reaction out of me. I was like, no! Derek and Odette embrace because they are safe. There's like a huge crowd now, and the assassin is like, darn, I missed my chance. And at this point, Derek is convinced that it is Antonio. He's back. He looked at that statue earlier. It has to be him. And at this point, I'm asking myself, who cares if it's Antonio? You defeated him so easily in the last movie.
I was so angry about that. They were like, it's Antonio. It has to be. He's back. And I was like, who cares? He's not fucking Rothbart. He's just some dude.
There was a moment where I was like, is this going to be like Rothbart's return? Like, is that what we're aiming towards? Does Rothbart have like a Z name? Does he have a brother? No, it's like, Antonio was so unvillainous, he couldn't even hurt 2 baby children.
Yeah, he was basically defeated by the kids. In fact, I think Elise got the last hit in.
Yeah, and like Lucas broke a leg because he fell. Like, that wasn't even Antonio who did that.
Right, and then he didn't even use Lucas as like leverage during the fight, which I fully expected. He is not villainous enough to be the big bad villain, and so I was sitting here like, I don't care. I don't care that this is Antonio. Come back.
Now, the one good thing about this is that the movie really clarifies, because in the last movie, it's like, oh, he's just on a rowboat. That's fine. But this movie clarifies, no, he's dead as fuck. He was on a rowboat in a hurricane.
That's what they said. I sure didn't see a damn hurricane in the last movie.
Clear skies in the last movie.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn that there was a final scene where he ends up on that stupid island.
Yeah, on Bog Island.
So He's not dead. We know that as the viewers, so you don't need to convince us that he's dead.
I think he is super dead.
I mean, he could have been killed and eaten by bugs, but he wasn't killed by a hurricane.
Man, what a wild and crazy thing.
But if he's dead, Andy, and this is the most important question because I kept thinking about stuff like this while watching this stupid movie. If he's dead, where's his ghost? Because apparently ghosts are just around all the time.
Only animals can be ghosts.
No, because Rothbart's a ghost.
Not anymore.
Well, no, but he had to die a second time first.
That is fair.
It's like Kingdom Hearts.
Maybe you only... It's like, yes, it's like... God, Jesus Christ. Antonio got Norded.
Okay, go on.
You mean Tony Ozan? He's back? I've never played a single one of those games. I hate that I know so much.
They're not good, Andy. They're Andy. They're bad.
No, the once the fourth one comes out, it'll all make sense, right?
I mean, it's not the fourth one. It would be like the 15th one or something.
Yeah, well.
But number 4. There's one good Kingdom Hearts game. We're not talking about this.
Which one? I need to hear your hot take on this.
I think it's called Birth of Memories.
Chain of Memories.
Is
it the Game Boy one?
No, it's not Chain of Memories.
Birth by Sleep.
Birth by Sleep might be the good one. It's the one without Sora in it.
I can tell, again, I hate that I know these things. Like,
it's wild that you knew that and I didn't. I have played all of them.
The reason I know this is because, like, so many of my friends in college played these games, so I just, like, kept absorbing it, but also, like, when a Kingdom Heart game comes out, that's, like, video game news, even if it's, like, a Dream Drop Distance or 356 Days Over 2. 65.
I am furious that you... Sorry, I found myself really angry that I heard the phrase Dream Drop Distance. Because that might be the worst Kingdom Hearts game, and that is saying something.
Yeah. Do you know why it's called that?
It's because of their stupid mechanic where you play as 2 characters, but instead of choosing which character to be, you get a set time, and then you get, quote, dropped into the other character.
No.
It's not that?
It's called Dream Drop Distance because it came out on the 3DS, Tony.
This is why we don't do a video game podcast, right? This is the reason.
We don't do it because what it would be it wouldn't be a podcast, it would be a Twitch stream where you're playing The Emperor's New Groove on PS1 and I'm going, what is this?
I will probably play the PC version, but...
There's a PC version. Oh, wow.
Well, when I was a kid, we only had computers, right? So I only had computer versions of all the stuff. Yeah, you'd be going, what is this? And I'd be saying, I need to press Z and X a lot to outrun the Jaguars, Andy. That's the one thing I really remember from that game.
Okay, where are we? Derek and Odette are fine. Scully is in a jar with Hunch. Rogers and the animals are in a carriage. Uberta has not been in this movie since her book tour, and that's okay.
That is the best thing for Uberta.
Where are the kids?
God, there's a moment where they're like, wait, he didn't come after us. So what's his plan? The children! Yeah, you fucking idiots. Could you 2 possibly be worse parents? You just, left the kids alone with nobody watching them when you know there's an assassin?
This is the wildest thing. When Derek and Odette are, like, hugging each other and celebrating the fact that neither of them died in the sewers, there's, like, an overhead shot of the crowd forming around them from, like, the assassin's point of view. Mm-hmm. And you can see the kids, Elise and Lucas...
You?
Yeah, like, backing away from the crowd. Like, why? What? Go towards your parents.
What? That's wild. The whole kidnapping of the children thing never made any sense because later they're in a fucking death trap and they're not even, like, tied up or anything. It's the dumbest death trap.
So this death trap is infuriating for multiple reasons. which we'll talk about now, because the kids are in a death trap that makes no physical sense. They're on like a one-sided scale.
There isn't another side. So, like, why is it heavy? Go on.
Yeah, and if either of them steps off of the scale, a gate closes.
And we are told they will fall. But that's not how that works.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
If they were on opposite scales, that would make some sense. But this is specifically a trap only for Derek.
Yeah, because this isn't actually a trap for the kids. It's a trap for Derek, because Derek realizes that the trap will close the gate. He Indiana Joneses them off of the trap and himself onto it.
Derek is a bag of sand in this scene, which honestly, it was the role he was born for.
Yeah, he has about as much character. He tells Odette and the kids to leave for safety. Now, Derek, we have just seen you throw open one of these gates like it's made of paper mache.
There's no consistency in this movie.
But also, there's another way out of the cave.
Yet there's like a big-ass door. That's where Agent 47 comes in. Yeah, there's deeper into the cave. There's no reason.
So anyway, Agent 47 shows up, and he's like, "You fool, Derek. This was a trap for you from the beginning."
Why? Because I did kind of like the reveal that it is Agent 47, Niccolo, and not Antonio, because I was sitting here like, I don't care that it's Antonio. And so when it was Niccolo, a character that I'd at least seen in this movie, I was like, oh, okay.
But here's the problem with that, Tony, is I've already spent 50 minutes of this movie not giving a shit.
It's a problem. I'm not saying they did a super good job on this twist ending.
Oh, so here it is. Here's the prestige. Niccolo shows up. Not only does he not have a Rasputin beard, he's also not crazy. Or maybe he is. The movie never really settles on that.
Maybe he's crazy, but he can talk to people like normal. Maybe he plays it up when people are around. Hard to tell.
And he's like, "I will push this button, Derek, and you will die." And Derek's like, "I know acrobatics."
Yeah, and then Derek just gets off the thing, and it's like, why were you even standing here, Derek?
Yeah, like, why were you even waiting?
Crap.
And then Niccolo's like, "Derek, you idiot. You
Derek,
total
you
dumbass.
Piece of shit.
You've fallen into my second trap, wherein I whistle and a bunch of rats bully you."
I'm not saying that we should take time to talk about how this movie could have been better, but if it had played up the, like, Willard part of this movie, where there's just a guy who controls rats, the inherent creepiness of the Pied Piper is that he controls rats, you know? So this guy controls rats, but also it rarely comes up.
No, it doesn't come up, really. The rats seem to have, like, a sentience, but they can't speak like all the other animals can.
Yeah, and we cannot start talking about what is the difference between the speaking animals and the non-speaking animals, because at least in the first Swan Princess, there wasn't one.
In the first Swan Princess, only 4 animals existed, and one of them was a woman turned into a swan.
Just like God intended.
Just like God intended. So Derek talks about how his friends are going to save him, and Niccolo's like, "Your friends won't be able to save you this time." And then we fade to black like it's a TV movie.
I kept on thinking that there should be commercials.
Yeah, right? I legitimately was like, oh, here comes the Applebee's commercial. Like,
his evil plan's okay. I mean, this final bit of the evil plan, it's okay.
This is pretty good. This is pretty good. But
this bit here, I want to be clear. This next bit coming up, not all the stuff up to this.
Yeah, no, this plan makes no sense. This plan is full of, this is some fucking Looney Tunes shit, right? Like, there's so many fake outs and traps within traps and, like, fake traps.
Felt like he was just taunting them to taunt them. And, like, maybe that's what he was doing?
Yeah, he was, like, playing jazz, I think, the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna set up a bunch of shit, have my rats write a bunch of Z's everywhere. Oh, fuck. We didn't mention the big twist, which is that they're not Z's. They're actually N's.
They're actually N's because his name is Niccolo. He's like, Derek, you stupid piece of shit. They weren't Z's.
They were N's the whole time. Now,
That's, again, not a great twist, but I do like any twist that's like, hey, Derek, you're an idiot.
That's true. And the best part of this is that Mavis called the Z being an N like the first time we saw it. She was like, well, it could be an N.
If this were her kingdom, she would have just killed Niccolo, and it would have been done.
If this were my kingdom, I would have just killed Niccolo. Why is he still hanging around?
I don't know why he was put in the dungeon with the big hole in it. That seems like a mistake.
Yeah, here the movie never explains how he even gets out of his cell, but he has to for this plan, right?
There's when they go down to find him the second time, there's just a big hole. So, was he doing a Shawshank? Did the rats get him out? Who knows?
Who knows?
But nobody had been watching him, obviously.
Earlier in the movie, Elise and Lucas found in the cat hag, they found an older version of one of the submarine that was being built for Niccolo's escape. Niccolo has tied up Derek. I was going to make a joke, but I legitimately could not remember the name of that one like bondage thing. So I guess I'm not going to make that joke.
Do you mean BDSM?
No, Tony, I do not mean BDSM. There is a specific word for it's a Japanese word for tying people up in a very specific way. And I don't remember it, and I'm not going to Google it.
Okay.
If you know what I'm talking about, just imagine how funny that joke would have been.
We're reaching new highs on this podcast, Andy.
Niccolo throws Derek into this submarine and has a pretty baller line where he's like, the only thing this submarine could do well was sink. And then he pulls the lever to drop the submarine and then breaks it off.
And he puts a rat in there for no reason than to give Derek a rat that can save him later. Look.
I do like his reasoning, right? What does he say? He's like, because none of your friends could save you, borrow one of mine.
Have one of mine. Yeah, it's pretty fucking wild, actually, that he would... It's fine.
This guy fell in love with a swan. You don't think he's going to get a rat to turn to his side? Come on.
It's like when Ursula brings all those ships up out of the sea. Are you sure, Ursula?
But one of these guys is a master sailor.
You realize that if you didn't do that, you just win.
It's about the theatrics, though, right? That's the thing. If you have a baller line that you've been really saving up and practicing...
And Niccolo is theatrical in this movie.
That's the thing, right? Is if villains just didn't go to drama class, they would be successful.
That's accurate. That's pretty accurate to Rothbard, I feel like. So even from the first movie.
Yeah. So, oh gosh. Derek is sinking in a submarine. Odette and the guards get to where Derek was. Niccolo mentioned something about it taking them some time to search the caves for him, but they pretty much show up before that submarine's below the surface.
Here's what it was. Scully saw them. Niccolo reveals in his gloating that he has not taken Scully into account because Scully's a literal ghost and he can't see him. So that's the bit that's what saves Derek, theoretically.
Maybe.
Is that Scully was like, princess over here. And so, yeah, they see him start to go down, but they don't have a submarine. They can't get him. So Scully goes down after him.
We need to roll back a little bit. So,
Do we really?
Yes, because how did Scully get free? The last time we saw him, he was jarred. Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
He appealed to Hunch's sense of friendship, saying, "Hey man, let me go check on my friends and I will willingly lock myself up." And Hunch is like, "That doesn't make any sense." And he's like, "I just love my friends." And so Hunch is like, "I guess you can go."
Hunch, I think the idea here, not done well, is that Hunch has never had friends, and he is intrigued by the concept. Because these goblin things do suck.
They are terribly designed and not good to each other. But, Hunch, we know from this movie and the last movie that he was in that Hunch is different, Not only does he know how to read and write, he also has like an M. Bison military hat. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know why it needs to be about anything, Andy. Maybe it just washed up on shore, or he ate a guy who wore it. He ate M. Bison. Are you happy?
This hat is about 100 to 200 years, right? Like ahead of the fashion curve.
I mean, on the other hand, what century do you think it is?
Fair enough.
Well, we got submarines. I don't think submarines were used until like late 1800s.
I think you mean
and they weren't
sink
widely
marines.
used until World Saint Marines.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, whatever's happening is garbage. So yes, Scully gets away. Now he can go find his friends.
Yeah. So he brings his ghost walkie-talkie cup into the submarine. And Derek's like, you need to walk me through what I need to do to get out of here. And so Roger starts doing that. But oh no, Derek's running out of oxygen.
Let's give me a timeout for a second.
All right.
Rogers says all this crap that isn't even like good fake technological bullshit. It's literally like made up magic princess words that sound like it was like a baby is making them up. Like, I think he says the word gobbledygook as, like, part of the thing that Derek needs to do. And it's infuriating. I think it's supposed to be silly to, like, remove some of the tension from this scene. But it's like this movie won't even let itself be taken seriously for half a second. And it just needs to throw one more awful joke at us. Sorry, that was it. I just had to get mad about that for a moment.
So Derek is falling unconscious, right? Like he can't anymore. He doesn't have the strength, and he's passing out. He looks terrible.
What else is new? But kish.
Yeah. Odette has single-handedly the best line in the whole movie. She grabs Rogers' walkie-talkie out of his hand and yells into it, "Derek, just breathe."
Then she starts singing Far Longer Than Forever, and I would have been so mad if that had worked, but nope, he's still dying.
Yeah, it turns out that singing is not oxygen. I just love that she starts it out with, "Take a breath." Like, he can't.
Remember that from movie one, these two have been terrible at making sure the other doesn't die. Although usually it's the other direction.
There was like a 2-second span where my mind started racing because this is it. She could turn into a swan right now. If it was ever gonna happen, if it was ever gonna come back.
Like, she wills herself into swan form to save Derek. I could see that. But no. Instead, we get the triumphant return of Hunch. We all wanted it.
He saves the day.
He scares the rat into pulling the makeshift lever that Derek had made. And now it's going up and he's going to get oxygen. It's... yay. So, that's basically the end of the movie. Everybody survived. There is a little bit of cruel and unusual punishment.
This is straight up torture.
You're not allowed to do this. And it's weird that they have it in a kids movie. Like, yep, this is what happens, kids. The king, instead of doing the more humane thing, which would have been executing Niccolo, or, building a prison cell that isn't terrible, or hiring some more guards or something. He just sticks them on that weight.
He sticks them on the one-sided scale.
One-sided scale.
I think this is an Odette move. I don't think King Jesus had anything to do with this. I think this was like Odette just being like, let's just put him on this scale. Leave him here to die.
And he whistles for his rats, who all come along and they're like, nah, actually, which I feel like wasn't earned.
You put one of us in a death trap, so no, thank you.
If rats can think like that, though, then he would not have put one of them in a death trap.
Listen, man, I don't know. I'm working with what the movie's giving me here.
Yeah, no, the movie's it's a bad movie, as it turns out. Although it's unlike a lot of the other Swan Princess movies, this movie is like a bad movie that you can like laugh at.
Yeah.
A lot of the other Swan Princess movies, including, I think, the one before it, are movies that are bad, but you kind of just have to slog through.
They are snooze fests.
I don't know if it's because the music is better, or the animation is better, or it's just so buck wild, but this was a much more entertaining bad movie. Because I was like, why did it just cut away from that character for me to see this other character? Like, none of it makes any sense.
Why do we spend more than half of this movie's runtime on Ghost Judge Judy and Rogers yelling at animals about turning things into ghosts?
Both of those things happen.
More than half of this movie has nothing to do with the title of this movie. And, like, the kids are not in this movie. They don't do anything. They hardly have any lines. Neither of them really look anything like they did in the last movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their character models on this cover, and it looks kind of rough, actually. Odette also has this great thing where her hair is shaped to her shoulders, but sometimes it moves away from her shoulders and keeps that shape. Like she just put a bunch of hairspray on. It's great. Wonderful stuff.
It's wild. It's so much. I think this movie is at the apex of, like, on a technical level, this movie is like nobody's slacking off, right? Like the animators are doing their best. Not many animators worked on this movie, right? Like this is a very small production because you gotta save as much of that money as possible for the tax return. They're working their butt off, right? They're doing their best. The voice actors are showing up to be competent. Like Odette doesn't really sound anything like herself anymore, but who sounds like Laura Bailey? But like,
well,
I don't know.
The other person who originally played Odette.
Yes.
Whose name I can't remember. It's been so long.
It's been so long. But like, the editing in this movie is insane. The writing in this movie is insane. It gives you like such whiplash that like this is a movie that was really that Sony published.
Sony keeps publishing. It's always the first thing I notice. Is that this is like they got somebody to sign off on this movie at Sony. Like, what do they have to do?
This is definitely still right. Like, don't watch any of these. Don't watch any of these. If you are,
okay, here we go.
I would love to see somebody who watched Swan Princess as a kid, right?
Just jump to this one.
Just jump to this one and have to be like, who the fuck are all of these people?
Who are these kids? Of these characters? Who are these kids? Why is Rogers like this?
There are ghosts?
All I remember about Uperta is that she wanted her son married off, and now she's insane.
The Puffin isn't even Scottish anymore.
That'd be pretty great. Like, how did we actually get from there to here?
Part of me wants to believe that this movie is what it is it's a swan song, hey, to this era, right? Because after this, from what I can tell, we're going to other cultures land.
Spending 2 straight movies in China. Why? Who knows? Thank you for listening to Direct-to-Video VHS. I have been your host, Tony Robusto.
I have been your host, Andy Reyes.
You can find me on Twitter at TheaterBats and my website at inspiredbytrueevents.org.
You can find me on Twitter at royalty_valence, and you can also find me at my other podcast, Time Honored Pictures, where we are going to be watching The Life of Emile Zola next. So, another biopic.
Oh, those ones are always good and not problematic.
Yeah.
You can see more direct-to-video stuff at directto.video and subscribe on iTunes or whatever you do.
And if you are on iTunes, please give us those delicious 5-star reviews.
Thank you to Lee Rosevere for the song Planet E off the album Trappist One. Well, now we gotta talk about this.
What are we doing next?
Next time we'll watch Pokemon the first movie. That's gonna be a trip.
That's gonna be
wild. Go back to the 90s. I'm the Ghost of John Smith. So some of them I don't want to hit just after doing some Swan Princess stuff, you know?
Yeah. Like, we're not touching Alpha and Omega, Richard Rich's other franchise for a while.
Well, I would like to finish Swan Princess before we do Alpha and Omega, because I don't want both of those on my plate.